Do you know what true success is? Most people think they do. They think success is more money, a bigger house, more recognition, more things. And they spend years, sometimes decades, chasing those things. But one day something strange happens. They finally achieve what they thought they wanted and still feel empty. Because success was never meant to be measured only by what you collect. What good is wealth if you have no peace? What good is achievement if you sacrificed your health to get it? What good is becoming successful if the people you love barely know you anymore? True success is quieter than most people imagine. It is waking up without regret, doing work that means something, having people who are glad you exist, having peace when the day is over. Success is not reaching a destination. It is becoming someone you are proud to live with. How much did I gain? But what kind of life did I build while gaining it? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal, not the arrival, the progressive realization. The daily, deliberate, unspectacular movement of a man who knows where he is going and is today measurably closer than he was yesterday. This definition changes a great deal. It means that success is not something a man achieves at the end of a long road. It is something he is either experiencing or not experiencing in the present moment. The man who has a clear, worthy goal and is moving toward it is a success today, regardless of how far the destination remains. The man who has no goal, or a goal that is not genuinely his, or a goal he is not actually moving toward, that man is not succeeding, regardless of what his financial statement shows. By this measure, the teacher who loves her work and does it with genuine commitment is succeeding. The man building a small business that matters to him is succeeding. The farmer who works his land with care and produces something real is succeeding. None of these people would be identified as successful by the measures most commonly applied. But by the definition that has proven itself most accurate, the definition that predicts not just achievement but the genuine experience of a life lived well, they are succeeding. And the man in the large house with the income that others admire, who goes to work each day without any genuine sense of where he is going or why, that man is not succeeding, whatever the world sees when it looks at him. A man is a success if he is doing daily something that contributes to a goal he has chosen for himself, something that calls on his genuine abilities and produces something of genuine value. By that measure, very few of the people commonly called successful are succeeding, and a great many of the people nobody notices are. Why the word worthy matters. A worthy goal is one that makes some genuine demand on a man, that requires him to grow in order to reach it, that produces something of real value, for him, for the people around him, for the world he inhabits. An unworthy goal is one that is pursued not because it genuinely matters to the man, but because it appears to matter to the world around him, because it would produce the recognition he has been wanting, because it matches what successful people are supposed to pursue, because choosing it requires less examination than choosing something more honestly his own. The distinction matters enormously, because a man who reaches an unworthy goal has spent the years he spent reaching it and arrives at a destination that produces nothing he actually needed. Whereas a man who pursues a worthy goal is, in the course of the pursuit, becoming more capable, more honest, more genuinely himself. The goal produces the man, and if the goal was worthy, the man produced is someone worth being. What most men call success. Most people are pursuing one or more of three things. The first is approval, the desire to be seen as successful by the people around them, family, colleagues, the broad social world they inhabit. This desire is entirely natural. Human beings are social creatures, and the desire for the approval of one's community is not a character defect. But when approval becomes the primary goal, rather than a secondary effect, The work a man does becomes organized around what will be noticed rather than what is genuinely valuable. And work organized around being noticed tends to produce less than work organized around genuine contribution. The second is security. The desire to accumulate enough that the fear of insufficiency is quieted, that the anxiety about the future, about what might go wrong, about whether the provision is adequate, is finally laid to rest. This desire is also entirely understandable, and the provision of genuine security is a real and valuable achievement. The problem is that the threshold of enough tends to move as the accumulation grows. A man who earns more than he needed at 30 to feel secure often finds that the same anxiety is present at 50, requiring a larger sum to silence it. The security he was pursuing was never primarily a financial problem. The third is dominance, the desire to be better than, to occupy a position above others in whatever hierarchy the man's world contains, his income higher than the neighbor's, his position more senior than the colleagues', his achievements more visible than his peers. This desire, pursued without examination, produces a life organized around comparison rather than contribution. And comparison is an engine that never runs out of fuel, because there is always someone higher, someone further, someone whose achievements make the current position feel insufficient. A man who pursues approval, security, or dominance as his primary definition of success will find, if he is fortunate enough to achieve what he set out to achieve, that none of them produce what he hoped, because none of them were ever truly about the thing they appeared to be about. The components of genuine success. Work that is genuinely yours. The first component of genuine success is work that belongs to the man doing it. Not work he fell into, not work he chose because it was available and he was not yet clear enough about what he actually wanted. Work that draws on his genuine abilities, that makes genuine demands on his genuine strengths, that produces something he can look at the end of the day and recognize as the product of what was best in him. Most men never experience this. They work in fields chosen for their income or their apparent security or their resemblance to what someone else thought they would be good at. And the work is done, often well done, often with genuine professional commitment, but it does not feel owned. It feels performed, and the difference between owned work and performed work is the difference between a life that is genuinely inhabited and one that is merely occupied. A man who has found his genuine work, who wakes each morning pulled toward the day rather than pushed through it, is in possession of one of the rarest and most valuable things available in a human life. He is not necessarily wealthy by the world's measure. He may not be prominent or widely recognized, but he is, in the truest sense of the definition, succeeding. He is the progressive realization of a worthy goal every single day. Peace with one's own conduct. The second component is one that no external measure captures and no external achievement provides: the peace of a man who is not at war with his own conscience. This peace is built slowly, in the ordinary private moments of a life, in the choices made when no one is watching, in the commitments kept when keeping them was inconvenient, in the standards held when lowering them would have cost nothing immediate. It is the natural condition of a man whose outward life and inward life are the same, who is not maintaining a version of himself for public consumption that differs significantly from the man who exists in private. Most men who are genuinely at peace with themselves could not point to any single dramatic achievement as the source of that peace. It is not the product of a particular success. It is the product of a long series of small honesty, the accumulated record of a man who, in the ordinary moments of his ordinary life, chose to be what he said he was. A man who lies down at the end of the day with a clear conscience has achieved something that no amount of money can purchase and no external success can substitute for. It is, in my observation, the most consistently underrated component of a genuinely successful life. Relationships that are real. The third component is the quality of the relationships a man has built, not their number, not their social utility, their reality, the degree to which the people in a man's life actually know him and are known by him, actually depend on him and are genuinely depended upon. A man who has spent his working years building his career at the expense of his relationships will arrive, in the later years, with a professional record that is genuinely impressive and a personal landscape that is genuinely thin. He will have colleagues and contacts and connections in abundance. He will have very few people who know him well enough to call at 3 in the morning with something that cannot wait. Relationships of genuine depth are not produced by good intentions. They are produced by time, specifically by the regular, unhurried, genuinely present time that is the only currency relationships of depth will accept. A man can be generous with money and still build no relationships of depth if the money is a substitute for presence. A man of modest means who is consistently, genuinely present in the lives of the people who matter to him will, in the accounting that the later years provide, be found to be considerably richer than the man who provided abundantly and was rarely there. Relationships that are real. The third component is the quality of the relationships a man has built, not their number, not their social utility. Their reality. The degree to which the people in a man's life actually know him and are known by him, actually depend on him and are genuinely depended upon. A man who has spent his working years building his career at the expense of his relationships will arrive, in the later years, with a professional record that is genuinely impressive and a personal landscape that is genuinely thin. He will have colleagues and contacts and connections in abundance. He will have very few people who know him well enough to call at 3 in the morning with something that cannot wait. Relationships of genuine depth are not produced by good intentions. They are produced by time, specifically by the regular, unhurried, genuinely present time that is the only currency relationships of depth will accept. A man can be generous with money and still build no relationships of depth if the money is a substitute for presence. A man of modest means who is consistently, genuinely present in the lives of the people who matter to him will, in the accounting that the later years provide, be found to be considerably richer than the man who provided abundantly and was rarely there. The growth that continued. The fourth component is the one that most men either ignore entirely or abandon somewhere in the middle of their working lives. It is the commitment to continued growth, to becoming at 50 a man who is genuinely more capable, more honest, more fully developed than the man he was at 35. Most people stop growing in any deliberate sense relatively early. They reach a level of competence in their field, a level of income in their career, a level of understanding in their personal lives, and they stop pushing against those levels. Not from laziness, from the entirely human preference for the familiar over the effortful, and from the absence of any compelling requirement to continue. But a man who has genuinely understood what success is, who has accepted the definition that makes success a daily condition rather than a final destination, will see continued growth not as an optional enhancement, but as the essential substance of the thing itself. He is either progressing toward a worthy goal, or he is not succeeding. And the moment progression stops, so does the success, regardless of what the accumulated results of previous progression look like from the outside. The genuinely successful man is, at any age, still moving, still learning, still demanding more of himself than last year required, not frantically, but steadily, with the quiet discipline of a man who understands that the alternative is not rest, but stagnation, which is a different thing altogether. The question. Most men never ask, how much did I gain? That question most men ask regularly in various forms throughout their working lives. The income, the position, the accumulation. How much, by how many measures did I manage to get? The question is, what kind of man did I become in the process of getting it? Because the getting produces a man. Every choice made in the pursuit of a goal shapes the person who is making it. A man who pursues his goals with honesty becomes more honest. A man who pursues them through compromise becomes more comfortable with compromise. A man who treats people as instruments in the service of his ambition becomes the kind of man who treats people as instruments, and finds eventually that the people who mattered most to him have noticed. The process of pursuing a goal is not separate from the life being lived. It is the life being lived. And the question of what kind of man it is producing is not a secondary question. It is the primary one. The greatest question is not how much you gained, but what kind of life you built while gaining it, and what kind of man you became in the building. A man who has built wealth and in the process become less honest, less present, less genuinely himself, has not succeeded. He has traded the more important thing for the less important one, and often does not recognize the trade until it is substantially complete. A man who has built less wealth or less prominence or less of whatever the world measures, but who has in the process become more honest, more capable, more genuinely present in his own life and in the lives of the people who depend on him, that man has succeeded, even if no one would identify him as such by the common measures. This is not a consolation prize for those who did not achieve what the world calls success. It is a more accurate description of what the word actually means, one that takes into account the whole of a human life rather than only the portions that appear on a financial statement. How to begin. The practical starting point for genuine success is a single honest question: what do I actually want? Not what I am supposed to want, not what the people around me are pursuing, or what would be most impressive to achieve, or what seems within reach given my current position. What do I genuinely, in the private, honest examination of my own desires, want my life to produce? Most men have never asked this question seriously. They have approximated it, asked a version of it that produced a socially acceptable answer, and then pursued the socially acceptable answer without ever pressing on whether it was the genuine one. The genuine version of the question is harder, because the genuine answer may require changes that the approximated answer did not. Write it down. Whatever the honest answer is, however modest, however different from the life currently being lived, write it down in plain language. A specific description of the work that would feel genuinely owned, the relationships that would feel genuinely real, the man you would recognize at the end of your life as having been worth being. Then ask whether what you are doing today is moving you toward that description or away from it, not whether it is contributing to the socially measurable version of success, whether it is contributing to yours. The gap between those two answers is the most important piece of information available to you. It tells you more clearly than any external measure can whether you are succeeding by the definition that actually matters or simply appearing to. Success is not becoming something the world admires. It is becoming someone you are proud to live with, and it begins, not someday, not after the next achievement, but today. In the decision about what your life is actually for, and the courage to pursue that honestly.